In this video session, we'll take a look at the SmartWorx Viva Traverse application. This is part 1. To take a look at our SmartWorx Viva Traverse application, we've already gone into Jobs and Data and created a new job called Traverse. This was set up with a none for a coordinate system because this will be just a true arbitrary plane survey. We won't be working on a formal coordinate system. So to enter the Traverse application, we would select Go to Work, Survey Plus, and Traverse. Within the Traverse, in that job, we need to give each Traverse that's contained a name. And I'll just call, in this case, Trav1 because this is the first Traverse that we're going to keep along with this one. I can optionally put a description and an operator or whatever other information I wanted. Those are optional fields and I'll leave them blank. Now we come to our configuration display, where on the first line we can select our measurement sequence. We can pick from the various choices. I'm just going to leave ours set for backsight, foresight, foresight, backsight. I also want to make sure that I've got my auto aiming turned on here. And when automatic target aiming is on, I want to automatically measure the targets. Yes, I do want to do that. So I will leave that box selected. I'm not going to show any additional tabs from my survey screen. The quality control area, we could, in reality, have it checked for some horizontal, vertical tolerances or distance tolerances or some backsight checks. I'm not going to bother on a simulated job to do either one of those. And then on our report sheet, I've already got it set up to create an output to a file called traverse.txt that will be stored in the data folder on my SD card, which is where I've created my job, using the old standby 1200 applog format file. So I think we're pretty well good to go. We've got our Traverse configured the way that we want to do it. So we'll carry on. We just pressed OK. Now we're going to set our get our initial setup and our orientation. If I go into here, my job is Traverse. I had a kind of a remnant point in there. I'm just going to delete that one. And what we're going to do is create a new point, and our Traverse is going to start on point 1 with a coordinate of 5,000, 1,000, and 100. I'm not going to use any codes in this case, and I'm not going to bother with images either. So if I'm happy with that, I just press Store, and that will be my first point that I'm spacing my Traverse from. I press OK. And we can see that our current scale is set to 1 because this is a pure plane survey. Our atmospheric is set for 0 because in a simulated job that's normally the best way to work. So we'll press OK. Now we have to give it the backsight ID. We're going to have a 4-point Traverse, and we're going to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and back to 1. So since my last Traverse point is 4 and I could possibly put a target on there, I'm going to tell it that I'm backsighting to point 4. I would leave all my target heights for this example is 5, so everything's going to be flat. Just check on our station. Yes, we did leave that to 5 as well. And the direction to that point, I'm assuming an azimuth of 90 degrees or due east. If I'm happy with that, what I will do is just take a distance, and what this will, in fact that's wrong, I want this to be 500 feet, so we'll apply and take a distance, and that just will give us a preliminary coordinate for that point 4, seeing that we've got it targeted for our backsight. We'll just press Set, and our station orientation has been set, so we'll accept that, and then we move on. Now we've got two choices. We can foresight to the next Traverse point, or we could do some surveying and do some locations about the setup that we've just created. In this case, I'd like to foresight to my next Traverse point, so I'll just press function 1 foresight point, and it's offering me point number 2 for my next Traverse point, which is fine. And then I can tell it how many sets I want to take, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. I'm just going to take one set for this one. So we will just press measure as we're pointing at the point.
Point stored. Point stored. Point stored.
and we've got our measurements taken. Now I could review my sets results, and if I had multiple sets, I could either use or not use. I could select or deselect them. I can see the horizontal information, the vertical information, and the distance averages by just toggling with the More button. I can also look at the spreads and toggle with the More on the same type of thing. If I'm happy with that, if I did want to add some additional sets, I could use the plus sets and then just add more sets. I don't think that we're going to in this case. Let's look at our map display and see what our progress is. We can see that I'm set up in a point 1 on the northwest corner of this little area. We've traversed to a point 2. My back sight, my initial back sight was on that assumed 90-degree azimuth to point 4. So if I'm happy with all of this, we just press OK. Now it asks me what I want to do. Do I want to move to the next station? Do I want to return back to the results? Do I want to review my traverse data? Well, we've just come from the results. We have reviewed the data, and I don't want to survey anything else here, so I will press function 1, move to the next station. This takes us back to our main menu, and if we press go to work, survey plus, traverse, select an existing traverse, and then traverse 1 is the one that we've been working on. It tells me that I now should be setting up on point 2 and backsighting point 1. A traverse is an organized process, so the software is going to help lead us through this in an organized fashion. Basically, I'm going to point to point 1, and I'm going to take a measurement.
Point stored.
Okay, now once again I have a choice. What do I want to do? Do I want to foresight to the next traverse point? I could close the survey, measure to a closing point. Well, I'm certainly not quite ready to do that yet. Or I could do a little bit of survey location. I'm going to press function 5 to select survey. And I'm going to change my point ID to keep it out of the range of my traverse points to 100. And I'm just going to do a couple of locations on something, whatever might happen to be out there. I'm not exactly sure what it is, because as I mentioned, we're just showing how this works. We're not worrying about detail. So we'll measure.
Point stored.
And measure.
Point stored.
And measure.
Point stored.
And then if we take a look at our map display, I can see down here from my setup at point 2, I just measured a 100, 101, and 102. And those were just standard survey side shots that are off of our actual traverse. The important thing here is when we're doing this is when we're done with the survey to press function 4 done. This is critical because otherwise we've actually left our traverse application, which is not desirable. So I'll press function 4 done. Now I've got the same choice that I had before, and I'm ready to move to my next traverse point. So I'll just press Foresight point, and I want to change this back because now I'm actually going over to point 3, which was my next traverse station. Once again, the height of instrument is 5, and 90. I'm just changing my entries because remember on a simulator to do this we have to do our entries manually. Apply, and then we'll measure to that.
Point stored. Point stored.
We'll complete our set.
Point stored.
And then once it's done. It gives me my sets results, my station information, my backside information. I can see on my map display now that I've located the traverse point 3. I'm ready to go occupy that, traverse up to 4, and then back to 1. And I can review my sets results, etc. Same things that we've already discussed. So I'll press OK. And I'll tell it that I want to move at this point in time. I don't want to get any more survey data. I've already reviewed my results. Go to work, survey plus, traverse, OK, and traverse 1. And it's telling me that I should be setting up on point 3 and backsighting point 2, which is quite the case. 270, and we'll actually see here that yes, my instrument even on the graphic display is set up to 3. We can see here's also my side shots down there hanging off of point 2. So we'll feed the information in here and we will measure.
Point stored.
So we've got our orientation. Now I want to do a foresight to point 4, which is my next traverse point. And it's offering me 4 already. If it wasn't, I would change that. My target height is 5. I want 1 set. And then we'll measure.
Point stored.
We'll complete our sets.
Point stored. Point stored.
And we're good to go. And we can see now, if we zoom extents on our map, I've now traversed and located the point 4. I'm ready to go there and occupy. I could also get further survey information here if I needed to. I'm not going to in this case, just to keep things moving along. We'll press OK, and we'll move. Once again, go to Work, Survey Plus, Traverse, OK, and it's Traverse 1. And it's telling me that I'm at 4, backsighting point 3. And we'll take a measurement. So now we've got our setup and our orientation. We did proper measure ups, of course. And then at this time, we're going to close because we're measuring from 4 to our original point that we started from, which was 1. So I'll press function 2 to close. And it's telling me that I need to select a point from the following list. I press OK, and our initial point was point 1, so I'm going to select that off the list, or I could actually, if I wished, select it off the map, either way. And then press OK. And then at this point in time, we'll take the measurement.
Point stored.
We'll complete our sets.
Point stored. Point stored.
We can review our results. We can do whatever we need to do. We can see now that we've got actually all the dark blue lines in our traverse. We've closed into point 1. Since this was a traverse with an internal reference, we'll see as we move on to the next step that an internal reference in a closed loop has been detected. So we can actually do our angle misclosure calculation as well. So do I want that to be done? Yes. Okay, if I look at my results here, I can see my precisions for both 2D and 1D. If I hit the function 3 for the northing and easting, I can see a delta northing, delta easting, and delta height. I can look at my angular misclosure. Well, didn't throw any error in the simulator, so we're pretty well perfect here. And then once again, my same map display. If I'm happy with that, I've got the choice of just quitting. I could go back and look at the results. I could survey some more information around this point 4 that I'm at, or I could do an adjustment. At this point in time, I'll just quit. And basically, we've completed our traverse. As always, if you require more information, check our website at leica-geosystems.com. For support, send an email to survey.support@leicaus.com, or you can make support inquiries and obtain other information from My World. If you haven't registered for My World, we'd recommend that you do so now.